I have two purposes for today's video. One is to include your art in your journals. A lot of times we might want to draw something or do something in our journals, and it's a little bit intimidating. I did this tiny little design that I copied off of wallpaper in my Yellow Rose of Texas journal, and it held my breath practically the whole time I was doing it, thinking, oh, am I going to mess this up? What I'm going to suggest today is maybe some index card art. I was using heavyweight blank index cards and just some markers to make these. And I did some flowers, and that's a poppy that I copied off a calendar. And then these are just kind of, I don't know if these are Zentangle or not, but they're in that manner. And they kind of remind me of the 70s with just colors and these swirly lines that you fill in the things. Reminds me of being in high school and drawing on the back of the book covers. If you don't know what to do with the little cards when you've drawn something on them, when I took oil painting a long time ago, my art teacher said, let's put it in a frame. Art always looks better in a frame. So I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about, okay, we can frame something, and what do we use for a frame? Well, the second part of this video, another use for window envelopes. And I made this one by using an envelope like this. It has this big window in it, and I cut it down where it would be this size, and I put gold paint on it with one of these sponges that has the texture on it, and just kind of dabbed it on there. And then it was too gold, so then I used a stencil and some vintage photo and went around it and put a swirly design on it to cover that. And then I glued, to make the frame like a gold frame that you would put art in, I used this craft trim that was my mother's. It was 93 cents. That tells you how old it is, I guess. It's probably $4 if you buy it now. But that's what I put around the edge, and I just glued it on there and kind of turned the corners. The great thing about these frames, these window envelope frames, is that you can either glue it down in your book, or you can just use it as a floating a piece. And you can add your art in there and have it like that, or you can have it as a storage place where you have several pieces of art in here. You can swap them out whenever you feel like you want something different in your frame, but they can be stored behind the one that's currently in view. This is a little business card that I glued some paper to the back of it to cover up the business side of it, and drew a little lavender thing on here, like similar to this one that I did on the index card. I got this idea from Michelle of the Crafter's Cove, and she does really pretty line drawings and other artwork, but she's very encouraging too about loving your art and using it in your journals as well. Another very encouraging artist is Danny Gregory, and he is self-taught, and he has the YouTube channel Sketchbook School, and he has classes and things that you can take if you want to learn to draw and be encouraged. He's very encouraging about love your art and keep at it, keep practicing, keep doing art, and you'll get better over time because your hand-eye coordination improves even with doing doodles, and your brain goes to the creative side on the right side of your brain, and that's just a very healthy thing to do. It's good for your circulation in your brain and it's just a great thing to do, art. He tells it better than I do. We've looked at this. I did this one last time and glued this rickrack around here, and then I just added scrapbook paper in the pocket. And this one would go around a page. This journal back over here. We'll do it on this page. It could be on this page as a pocket and a frame, and then you flip it over, and this part's a flip. And you could put whatever you wanted to on this side. You could draw a picture here, or you could put a little scrappy pad to write notes on, or any of the usual things that we do, any artwork or whatever from somebody else or your own. Let me show you how I did this, because obviously I cut this way down from this size. And what I did is I kind of measured what this was, how deep this was, and decided how much I wanted on either side of the frame. And I kind of went around by the barn on how I did it, but live and learn, right? I learned something. I learned another way of doing it. I'm just going to mark where I want that to fold. And is that right? What I had? Yes. Okay. And I'm going to cut the top part down too. So I may leave a little bit more up there just because. Okay. What I want to do is just fold this on these lines. About like that. And on this one. Okay, fine. And then I want it to fold here too. Actually, I'll do that in a minute. What I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this off. Bring over my paper trimmer. Now, I don't want to cut that on that line. I want to cut it back from that because I want the fold to be there, and I want to have enough to fold back to glue it together so that it's a pocket again. So I was about to mess up. And I'm just going to put this where it's about, I don't know, there's 3/8 of an inch or something like that. And I'm going to do the other side. When I did the first one, I cut it different and just made it really complicated, and realized after I'd done it, it didn't have to be this complicated. It can be simpler, more simple. Okay. And then I'm going to cut this off as well with enough to fold back. Okay. And then what we can do is I'm going to fold these front flaps back to the back and glue it to this part. So I need to cut this off at the folds and then fold that back. So I'm just going to cut this right here and right here and fold this. Oops. Folding shouldn't be that hard. Okay. And I'm just kind of folding it where it doesn't show in the window. There. Okay. And then on this side, I'm just going to cut that down. Cut it back so that I can glue that to the flaps. I think I'll use the paper cutter trimmer. You could just cut it with your scissors, but I'm going to do it this way and hope that it's a little bit straighter. But I need to be sure I start in the right spot. Well, no, that's entirely wrong. I just cut it too short, but maybe I can still glue it together. I don't know what I was thinking. It needs to be there. I don't know what I just did. Okay. This side will be right. The other side will be less right. But if I wanted to leave it open, this side would be fine for that, because then it would be a little, there's a little difference there that you could find the pocket easier. So that might be fine to do that. I may leave that side open and just glue this side down. So this has just plain white in the back of it. I think I'm just going to leave that. I might do a little stenciling or something in there just to give it a little bit of interest. I think I'm going to use the speckled egg just because it's a little bit different. Just to have a little Just a little interest there. It's probably picking up a little vintage photo from this stencil from before when I was using it, so it may be kind of a modeled effect on there. But that's what it is, so that's fine. Okay, that is this Tim Holtz stencil. And on the front, I think I will do the sponging again with the gold like I did before. This is some gold paint that I got, Faber-Castell. It's gel paint, and it came in a kit. It had the gelatos, and it was doing mixed media, I think was the idea behind it. I'm just putting a little bit out in this foil, cupcake paper. I don't know how that's going to do, but we'll see. Put a piece of paper behind it. I don't want to get it on the window, so I need something to cover that up with. I'll use this. I'll use this card. It has kind of a round corner there that maybe I can cover up that. And just, I'm not going to put a whole lot on here. I'm just going to kind of give it a little color and shine. Well, I need more than I thought I did. I guess the sponge kind of takes it up, so anyway. Okay. All right, that gave it a little bit of shine. So now I think we can glue this together. Put this paper back down so I don't get that paint everywhere. Okay, this is the side that I want to glue to that. So I'm going to use Fabri-Tac. And this side, I just want to glue it down to itself. Okay. That paint is still wet and sticking. Okay, this needs to go down here. Like that. Whoops, not like that. Just take that apart because it needs to not be like that. It needs to be even there, like that. Okay. I made it where it had a flap that went over the back, and you could either glue that down or you could just leave it as a flap if you wanted to make this a floating pocket. And you might, I didn't finish anything on the back of that. I probably should do that if I want it to be a floating pocket, and I kind of do, so I may do that too. But anyway, this one, you could make it where just one side is open and that's all, or you could have it like a tuck spot where the top is also open. So I think I'm going to trim this off a little bit. And maybe about there. So now we have that. And I'm going to leave it like that. Except I am going to put something around it to make it a frame. And that's a little narrower than that one is. This is an imperfect frame. We could have this as this way. This might need to be a little more that size if we did that. What do we want to put around this one? There are all kinds of things you can use. I kind of like the gold braid and things on it. This was some that my mother had in her stuff. It has a kind of a plaid, diagonal plaid design in it. That could be something that could go on there. Kind of need to cover up electronic service requested. And this one is not going to be as easy to turn the corner because it's square. So I guess I could, it looks to be the same on both sides. So I could just turn it like that at the corners and go around that way. Don't have a whole lot of that left. So I get stingy with things when I only have a little bit left. But we're going to use it. How's that? And I need to cut that off right there because it's kind of frayed. I need to go this side first and make sure I cover that up. So I'll put it here like that. And I need to decide how much of this I need to use also. Let's go this way. All right, I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. I'm going to have it open on that side also. I've decided that. So both sides will be open. Two sides will be open. Get out the Fabri-Tac again. And I'm just going to put some, I'm going to start right there and just go across to just past there. Okay. That kind of is out there. The glue. Get my trusty glue eraser that I got at Dollar Tree. Don't do that. Okay, I'm going to leave the rest of that as is. And I need that to not be stuck down right there because we're going to turn that corner. Now I'm going to go down this side. I'm going to turn the corner and be right there. Okay. I think I'm going to put the glue on this because it's kind of hard to judge where it needs to go. You could also stitch around this, but if you did that, you would need to do it to open it up so you could get all the way into it, so you could stitch without stitching the whole thing together. Okay, I'm going to put a little more there. And then it's kind of gluey in places. It's going to be better when that glue dries. It needs to come down just a little bit more to be even all the way around. Okay. And then the last turn here, I'm going to try it this way. Need some there though. A little bit more room. Now I think what I'm going to do is not turn that one in. I think I'm just going to leave like that crossed there, just as a decorative element, and have this one as a place to put something to decorate it. So it could be a flower or whatever you would like to put on there. You get the idea with that. And say you were using this. I put some gold paint on. I put some of this paint on this poppy also, and it's a little bit shiny. I don't know how well it shows up, but there it is in its frame. It's that one. And this one is the brown one. And let's see what we'd like to put in there. I don't know if this is bluebonnets or not. I don't much think it is, but it's lupine, I guess. So it could go in here. And I drew that one just looking at this little note card that was in my aunt's things. I have been using these markers. They're dual brush. One has a brush pen on it. The other one has a finer point. And these are Tombow, there's 2 sets, and this is Color In by Le Plume 2, Marby. These are all water-based, so they will bleed if you get them wet or anything like that. But they're pretty easy to use and fun to work with. I use my alcohol ink markers on this one and these, so that is that. But anyway, I thought you'd like to see this, and this one is the one I started with. And if you just think, I cannot do art, I'm not going to do art, this is not for me, you could also put other kinds of things in there. You could put, this is a little card somebody gave me. It has a Chinese lady on there that could go in. And she gave me this little bookmark with it too. It's very thin wood. And it might be cute to have that on there. But anyway, that's an idea. Other artwork. This is just the front off of a greeting card of some kind. It was probably in my grandmother's things because she loved redbirds. Or cardinals. I always called them redbirds growing up, so it's hard for me to call it something else. But I think that's pretty too. It just kind of makes it more than just a piece of paper. And this is another thing. I was thinking it would be pretty to copy these little flowers. They're 5-petal flowers, and by copying from artwork like this, you can tell where they used a darker color. And to me, it's easier to do that. And I think that's a good way to learn. You don't want to be a copycat necessarily, but if you're just learning and practicing and testing it, I don't think there's a problem with that. Now, if you go out and try to say that it's your artwork, I mean, which it is your artwork, but if it was your idea and try to sell it or something, that's another story. So be careful about that because of copyright. But just when you're doing things for your own pleasure, I think you can copy it and learn. That's my theory. These are just little squiggly things that I colored. So I did want to mention, I asked my brother if I could use his art. He showed me a picture of some art he had done recently that I really liked. And I think it's called Zentangle, where you draw the boxes and then draw squiggly lines or whatever kind of little designs in each box. So each one is like a picture in itself. I'll put the picture up in the video so you can see what I'm talking about. But I just thought it was really neat the way he used the colors and everything. And I wanted to encourage him for one thing, but I also wanted you to be encouraged by his artwork because he's not been doing this for very long, and I think he's really improving over the short amount of time he's been doing it. So I want to encourage him and encourage you to just give it a try, have some fun. Don't get too caught up with it that it's got to be perfect or anything like that, because it doesn't. We're working in junk journals for the most part, but these ideas could be used in other things too. I mean, you could make a greeting card with this little window on the front if you wanted to do something like that. Postcards are another thing that you could put in these frames. These are some that are from Hawaii that were artwork, copies of artwork. But, pretty scenes like that would be pretty in there. That would be pretty in that one. I'm not sure it's going to fit. I think it's too big, but it would be pretty in that frame. Maybe a little too tall. But anyway, you get the idea. I hope you like the idea and can use it in your artwork, in your journaling. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you got some ideas. Feel free to take this idea and run with it. Maybe add something decorative up in the corner or lower corners of your frame to give it a little more pizzazz. Lots of ideas there. A sticker. These kind of 3D stickers are fun with the keys. I always like keys on things. Or the flower ones are similar. 3D idea there. Bows, beads, buttons, anything like that. Even a little Scrabble tile would be fun to have on there. We'll leave it at that for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and have some fun with some art. Bye.